Today is Wednesday, the 18th of May, 2022. I'm Brach Jennings.
And I'm Peter Clark.
And this is Intercontinental Media. And Peter, thank you for the reassuring nod because I can never get the days of the week right. This has been, I believe, since I moved to a different continent than you, I've never been able to get the days right when we record. So that's been what, 3 years now? Something like that.
Wow.
We took that hiatus from our first show for a little while, but we picked it up then again when I was in Europe, and I never could. Ever since then, I never can get the days right. So, thank you for reassuring me. And what's funny? Before we started, I looked at my watch, and of course, it just says an 18. And I'm like, that's thoroughly unhelpful. It doesn't help me with the month. It doesn't help me with the day. And frankly, where I'm at in my life right now, I even need to know what year it is. And my watch just says 18. It's like, I need more assistance as I get older with these sorts of things.
Right.
So today we're talking about a movie I don't like, called John Grisham's The Firm.
And yet it was your choice.
Peter, I like to choose things as a director that I don't necessarily like in order to see what you think. I've liked very few of the movies we've reviewed, actually.
Fair enough. I think it was very clearly written by a lawyer.
Please don't give me a coughing attack because of all the legal jargon.
Not just all the legal jargon, but he wins the hero of the movie overcomes through an obscure legal maneuver.
Yeah, well, that's just John Grisham for you, isn't it?
Well, he's a lawyer.
Oh, that's right. He is. I mean, unlike Dan Brown, who writes that idiotic book, The Da Vinci Code, and never was a historian, and yet he writes about a history professor. John Grisham was a lawyer and always has characters who are lawyers. Have you read Grisham's novels?
No, I have not. My wife has.
And
she says it's very typical of John Grisham.
I only read The Summons.
Okay.
I read it a long time ago. About when it first came out. I was in 8th or 9th grade, but I never read another Grisham book. But I never saw The Firm. The Firm was one of the movies I did not have on Laserdisc. One of the few from that era, and maybe that's why I don't like it, because I never got to experience it on Laserdisc. But it really is the experience of the format that makes everything. But I've seen it 3 or 4 times, and I really think when I say I don't like it, the story's good. I don't like Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
And it's not just because I get a bad taste in my mouth when Scientology is mentioned, although there is that. I just don't think he's a very good actor.
Well, there's also the classic, Tom Cruise has to run in every movie scene in this.
Yeah, well, he was young. He was about 30 in that movie, if that. I think he's younger than I am now.
Yeah, but this is a meme. Tom Cruise, there's a running scene of Tom Cruise sprinting in every movie he's in.
Oh, really? I wonder if he can still do it now. But anyway.
He still does. Oh, he absolutely still does.
Oh, God.
It's still in the modern Mission Impossible movies and things like that. Just Tom Cruise sprinting.
Is he still in Mission Impossible? I only saw the first one.
Oh yeah, he's still in Mission Impossible.
They made another one after the first one?
They've made 3 or 4 more.
Well, you know how I feel about sequels.
But
we've clearly established that I'm a one and done, with exceptions. No, okay. So clearly, there's this young, achievement-driven lawyer, and he starts out, in my estimation, in the movie, very, very ambitious. He's he's a straight A student at Harvard.
Top 5 of his class.
Yeah, top 5 of his class, even more than a straight A student at Harvard. And there's part of me that sort of relates to that character in a sense that it is relatable, that if you're in Harvard law, it's such a stressful environment. You feel like you've got to be the absolute best.
Mm-hmm.
And you're willing to step, or he really was willing to step on whoever he had to get where he wanted. But then there's also the other side of it, that he clearly deeply cared about his wife in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
They're these young, I don't know that he ever stopped caring about her, but of course he does step out on her. And it's like, that was so, when he has the one night stand on the beach, that was so, and I can't remember where that was. Is that in Mexico?
No, that was in the Cayman Islands.
Sorry. Oh yeah, where all the profits are stored today. That's right. I remember now. So see, this is how disillusioned I am with reality, Peter. It's just like, yeah, where all the rich people store their money. When he steps out on her at that night, it was just, for me, so typical hotshot young professional behavior.
Well, and the thing I hated about that was later when she finds out that it was a setup, that she somehow forgives him for it because it was, because someone put that temptation in his way.
Well, I mean, it's probably typical. Well, who knows? They'd probably been together since he was in graduate school, at least.
Yeah.
But it's all about him. I mean, that's the problem, right? In the end, it's still, even though he solves the case, it's still all about him and his career ambitions.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. We've talked a little bit about the Enneagram, but I don't know if we've talked about it in this iteration of our public lives together. Tom Cruise is a 3 on the Enneagram, according to Richard Rohr. And he believes that Cruise is a 3 in real life, and that all the characters he plays are 3s, and he can only play 3s because he is one. And as I'm watching this character, I'm thinking, yeah, that, to me, that would jive with that with that description. Nothing against people of that Enneagram type. I mean, anyone can do fabulous things or non-fabulous things, but this is clearly somebody who was not, this character was not a balanced, healthy person, right? And he shows all the negative traits of when you are so career driven, right? I mean, if he did that, frankly, on the Cayman Islands, from my estimation anyway, because he could.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter that in the first instance he sort of still plays the young, I should stay with the one I love attitude, because there is that one time with where he sees a woman and
when they're at the bar.
When they're at the bar, exactly. And then it becomes, well, it's almost like, well, what the hell, we'll just do it. And I was so like, this is the shadow side of being excessively result oriented and performance oriented.
Mm-hmm.
And what did you think, at the risk of spoilers, as if we don't always give spoilers, what did you think of Gene Hackman in this movie? I've always liked Gene Hackman.
I thought he was one of the more interesting characters in this movie.
Oh, you didn't think Tom Cruise's character, whose name, of course, I'm forgetting, like always, was interesting?
Well, I mean, he was interesting, but like, I felt like there was more of an arc to Gene Hackman's character.
Well, Well, if you feel like that, perhaps that's John Grisham's problem and not the movie. Although I can't remember who directed the movie, but I feel like it's someone I'd heard of. Um,
I don't
Peter's
remember. I can go
Pete,
look it up quick.
Peter's going to look it up. I know they did shoot the thing on location, so they were in Memphis, and then they were, even though I thought it was Mexico originally, they were in the Cayman Islands.
Directed by Sidney Pollack.
Oh, I don't know the director. Never mind. Never mind. One of my criticisms of this movie, as if I didn't already have some, is the music. I know who the composer is. The composer is Dave Grusin, and he did the music for a little film from 1995 called The Cure, which is a lovely film about a boy with AIDS and the struggles he goes through in rural Minnesota. It's Stillwater, Minnesota, if you remember your Luther Seminary days. They never say that, but that movie's shot in Stillwater. And I love that movie, and I love that music. But Dave Grusin's compositional style worked for that film. I don't think it worked for this one. Even in the intense scenes, these life or death scenes, the piano music that's playing is almost continually in a major key, and it's all bouncy and jovial. And I'm just thrown off the whole time, saying they should have gotten a different composer for this movie. I mean, I think John Williams is rather overrated, frankly, but I would have preferred him to this person. Sorry, I'm letting my music training come through from the background. But it was almost all piano, which is fine. That doesn't necessarily bother me. But change up the key, please. And I'm not talking about a different major key. I'm talking about the relationship between major and minor. And it just distracted me from being able to watch the movie. It's like I sort of wish this was a silent film, or that I could have watched it on silent. It would have been more effective. But what did you think about the music, though?
I didn't notice the music in particular one way or another. It didn't affect me the same way that it did you, but it also, like, I don't remember it being like, oh yeah, that was a great musical hit, or that was, like those that really, it was just sort of background music.
Peter, sitting in his studio with all the musical instruments, says that he didn't notice the music like I did, and yet me, with I have two recorders, pardon me, here actually, that are way back behind me. They were both gifts to me for my birthday, but apart from that, I have no musical instruments in Germany anymore. And believe it or not, Peter, it's been so long since my days of doing a music degree, I actually can't really play anymore, and I can't even sing for extended periods of time without almost total exhaustion. I'm so out of form. And in the X-Files revival, I don't know if we've talked about this on here, but I say this quote all the time. Dana Scully says to Fox Mulder, when Mulder wants to, of course, recruit her again to return to the X-Files, "This isn't my life anymore, Mulder." And I have said similar things related to music. I just can't do it in any way like I used to. So I have, and I was in a choir here in Germany. I've had to withdraw, unfortunately, due to my doctoral exams that are approaching. I can't keep up with it anymore.
Right.
But even the choir, when I first joined, it took me a while to be able to read the score again. So, but the ironic part is that I'm sitting here going, the music for this movie drives me nuts. Because what I haven't lost is the ability to listen critically. Right. That's just that I have gone from a performer, analyzer, analyzer of more music history than theory, but I've gone from that to a music lover and a real connoisseur, and I would say, at least on the way to becoming one. And so it just drives me nuts. The music for this film
Well,
just
and I
drives me
think
bonkers.
you have more of a connection to classical style music.
Well, sure. And
So that would lend more towards your noticing that. If it were a pop score, I might have.
yeah, I can definitely, and that's, by the way, why I'm not a big fan of John Williams, because I think John Williams just recreates Verdi. Or no, wait, well, yeah, he does some of that, some Verdi, some Gustav Holst. The worst one is Andrew Lloyd Webber. Oh my God. I can't figure out why people like that man. What?
I'm gonna go see Jesus Christ Superstar next winter. So
well, you can enjoy that for both of us. Thank you. I've seen that
the
movie.
bass playing, the bass. If the bass player follows the score of the original recording, it is an amazing bass performance.
Oh, I've seen that movie one time. I never need to see it again. That's no. Yeah. Anyway, but the music for The Firm was not to my liking because it was too bright. Mm-hmm. It was too energetic. Mm-hmm. And to go along with the metaphor of bright, it was too major. It was too much in a major key.
Very hopeful music.
Yeah, and it's not a hopeful movie.
No.
Right? It works. For the other film that I mentioned, The Cure, that Dave Grusin did the music for, that is a hopeful movie. They're holding out hope until the end that this boy will be able to find a cure for AIDS.
Right.
That works there. But here it just didn't. Where's the hope in this movie? I don't see any. Maybe that's the other reason I don't like it. It fits to my miserable side too much. Nobody, people are going to start saying, "Why do y'all do this?" All Brach does is complain about the movies y'all review.
Yeah, but I thought I think my biggest complaint about the movie was it was the saying, show don't tell.
Yeah.
Well, there's the legal wranglings in it are so technical that it had to be very tell instead of show.
Yeah, try watching that in German, by the way.
Oh God, I can only imagine.
Oh Lord Jesus, help me. Yeah. That's right. This is a movie that should have stayed a book, and there's one other John Grisham movie that I've seen, and I'll mention that in a second, and that one I love, but we'll go there in a minute. I just remembered it. I didn't have it on Laserdisc. I didn't have it on Laserdisc, but I still loved it. But yeah, this movie was clearly a book, and for me, it represents my thesis that you and I have disagreed about for 6 years, at least 6 years, if not 7, that sometimes books need to stay books and not be adapted.
I've never disagreed with that.
Yeah, but I just think every book should stay a book.
Right, that's what I disagree with. I agree.
No, I'm just teasing. You have softened me on that. Congratulations. You may take you may take credit for that. I was deathly ill for 2 weeks, no, for 10 days, excuse me. And I rewatched some of the Harry Potter movies in German, and whatever problems I think we've all got with Joe Rowling these days, or at least any of us with a brain have with Joe Rowling these days. The movies are still works of art, and they're wonderful. They're just wonderful, and it was lovely. I've revisited them a couple of times because I look at them in German. They're great German practice.
Yes.
Yes, you've tried.
No, I mean, but watching movies is great language practice.
Oh yeah, no, I do that all the time. But Harry Potter in particular, I love to do in German because the voices match the originals very, very well in that particular version.
Yeah.
And so my thesis of books should stay books doesn't hold there, right? So there's a way to do it, but with a movie, a way to do it well. But with a movie like The Firm that is so technical and relying on these nuanced arguments that the rest of us who don't have law degrees, although an MDiv is sort of like a law degree in a way, isn't it, Peter?
It's a law and gospel degree.
Oh God, he is a Lutheran. I dropped that part of my theology. Yeah, right. For those of us who don't have proper law degrees, it's a bit much.
Yeah.
And one begins to ask, should this movie or should this book really have been adapted into a film?
Right. And it's one of my other issues with it as a film is it's billed as a thriller. Right.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
No, I just thought it was a legal drama.
But it doesn't get very exciting until at least halfway through.
When was it billed as a thriller? Keeping in mind, I only have the German version over here.
Right. No, on the Wikipedia page, it's listed as a legal thriller film.
Oh, legal thriller film. Okay.
And if you watch the trailer for it, it makes it seem very exciting.
Yeah, I wouldn't call this movie particularly exciting.
No, not until at least the last half, maybe even the last third.
Yeah. Yeah. What grade would you give this film?
C plus B minus?
Yeah, I was going to say a C. Yeah. Yeah, this was not. We are in full agreement about this one. We are still not in full agreement about The Omen. That hasn't been solved. Perhaps it won't be.
Maybe never. But The Firm we can agree on is a fairly mediocre movie.
That is a fairly mediocre movie. That movie is something that even me, who, although I haven't liked most of the movies we've reviewed, you always get me by the end of it, right? I start out saying, God, I didn't like this movie. And then, like by the end, I'm like, okay, I like this movie. That switch isn't happening at this one. This is thoroughly not great. This is, hey, so listeners, viewers, listeners, everyone, there was a slight pause and a slight break perhaps in the video, and that's because of some technical things related to how Peter and I do a transcontinental show every other week for you all. And on our end, which you all won't know because this will be one seamlessly edited whole, but on our end, it took us a few minutes to get back going because, as usual, I can't work technology. Peter, it was my dream job in high school to be a movie director.
Yeah?
Yeah, but with my technological skills, probably wouldn't have worked.
I didn't want to be a director. I wanted to be an editor.
So not surprised. I forgot what we were talking about. I know
okay.
It was the adaptation of the of books and films, and I'm still going to get to the Grisham film that I love, but just to say, you and I then thoroughly agree this is a mediocre film. Like this is something, I don't think it's bad enough to play that college students should play drinking games to it. It's a step above that,
Right, right.
It's not Austin Powers, which to me is one of the absolute worst films ever made and never should have even gotten a script. um and that
Never
one,
mind two sequels.
oh god, it had two sequels.
Yes.
I really fear for the future of humanity. Like, yeah, I really fear for the future of humanity if Austin Powers got two sequels.
Yeah. I
uh
saw them in reverse order, actually.
that may be the only sensible way to do it.
It actually it actually is. The third movie. So the third movie, I think the third movie is the funniest of the three, but only if you haven't seen the first two. Because it
Okay.
has they all have all the same jokes in them.
Okay. Oh,
And the
Lord.
jokes are probably executed best in the third movie. But if you watch them in order, by the time you got to the third movie, you're like, we get it. The rocket ship's penis.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, please don't make me suffer through that.
I won't.
Because I mean, wouldn't that would be one where I would just be miserable the whole time, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's not make Brock miserable.
No.
We can have fun with Brock and make Brock see things that Brock maybe didn't think were there in various films and all of that, but let's not make Brock miserable. In this movie, The Firm did not make me miserable. The Firm is a thoroughly average, you said mediocre to average
Yeah.
film. It's not great acting by Tom Cruise, if Tom Cruise is ever a good actor. I leave that to others to decide because I haven't seen enough. I've only seen Firm and Eyes Wide Shut when he was still married to Nicole Kidman, which is honestly one of the strangest movies I've ever watched in my life. And there's a third one that I can't remember. I never did see Top Gun.
Yeah.
Um,
Late in life, Kubrick got weird.
Yeah, the Late and Light Kubrick definitely got weird. Maybe I should look at it again, but that was just a strange film. I didn't hate it; it was just strange. So yeah, I've never been a Cruise fan. Oh, I guess I saw Mission Impossible somewhere in some eon. I remember it, but God, the original series was so good. Why would I watch the remake? Um,
I've never seen any of the original series.
well, I only saw a few episodes when I was a kid, but I really liked it.
Okay.
Um, well, that was my 10-year-old self, but didn't we already look at a movie on here once that I watched when I was 10 and then decided I didn't like it anymore?
Yeah.
I feel like we did that somewhere.
I'm sure
So
we did. Yeah.
yeah, so it's never reliable. But okay, let me tell you about the John Grisham film that I love. And that I didn't have on Laserdisc. Unfortunately, I should have. The Client.
Oh, The Client. Interesting.
Yeah, that's a great movie.
Okay.
That's a great movie. And it's with one of the actors from the movie The Cure about the little boy with AIDS. The best friend of the AIDS boy in The Cure is the star of The Client. It was Brad Renfro's first film. And the name Brad Renfro, you might know because when he was an adult, he did a very, very messed up film called Bully about a high school kid who goes around and murders a bunch of people.
Oh, wow.
And I think including a teacher.
Wow.
I mean, that was something. But I love The Client, and Brad Renfro died of a drug overdose actually the same year Heath Ledger did. And everybody talked about Heath Ledger dying, but nobody talked about Brad Renfro dying of very similar circumstances. So The Client is amazing. And I can't remember. Yes, I remember the kid's name, Brad Renfro, but I can't remember. Is it Susan Sarandon who's in that? No, perhaps you want to Google that for me, Peter. You're my Google resource. Who plays the female lawyer in that movie?
Just a second. Susan Sarandon.
That's it. Yeah, it's really a great man. I love her. She's excellent. So there's an example, just to be clear, that I'm not saying no Grisham books should be made into movies. I never read the book for The Client. I also never read the book for The Firm, but it was clear to me seeing The Firm that should have stayed a book.
Yeah.
The Client was, oh, this is a good film. I like this film. I
Mhm.
really, and of course Susan Sarandon is just phenomenal.
Yeah, she is.
Even though I couldn't remember if it was her or not. I haven't seen it in probably about 12 years. Okay, give me a break.
Okay, that's fair.
Um, um, and I think I actually looked for that movie on Laserdisc, but I didn't get around to getting it on it. But the firm is so mediocre average that if I could do it, I wouldn't even seek out the Laserdisc. What does that tell you, Peter?
Oh man.
That's my this one is not a keeper. Would you watch this film again?
Not on purpose.
Mm, mm, mm. What'd you think of the ending?
The ending was weird. Like, it's simultaneously like he's like, I'm gonna be, checking my car before I start it every time for the rest of my life. And then also like, let's go find a small firm in Boston to join.
Because our last experience with the firm was so well done. And but I also had a problem just before the ending. Gene Hackman's character ultimately goes after Tom Cruise's wife.
Yeah. He's a philanderer.
Yeah. I mean, it's just.
Well, and he thinks their relationship is ruined.
Oh, so that makes it okay.
I mean, it makes it less terrible.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, and she goes for it, which is also the big
she pretends to go for it.
Right.
She pretends to go for it in order to keep him away from, in order to drug him so they can steal the files.
Right. Which then there's setup after setup after setup going on in this film, which can only be done in a legal drama.
Right.
Although this legal thriller. Well, okay, if this is a thriller, the music sucks. I'm sorry.
Music.
I'm sorry. I'm a broken record, but with speaking of legal things, I wonder if part of the reason this is pure speculation, but if part of the reason this particular movie was made, because it came out before The Client came out in 94 and this was 93, I think.
Okay.
Maybe even 92.
93. Yep. This is 93. The Client is 94.
Oh, good. At least I was right about The Client. I wonder if part of the reason the firm was made into a movie is because of, to that time, the already exploding success of Law and Order.
I can see that.
Because if my memory serves, Law and Order premiered in 1990. Peter's now Googling my dates just to make sure I'm right.
Law and Order franchise starts in 1990. Yep.
See, as we said last time, if there is a piece of useless knowledge, one of the two of us knows it.
Yes.
By the way, they have revived Law and Order, the original.
I am well aware.
You are apparently watching this, or you're
absolutely.
Okay, so you are glued to the Law and Order revival.
I am. Love it.
Why didn't you just watch SVU? You can be watching that now for 24 years.
I hate SVU so much.
I love SVU. Mariska Hargitay is a genius.
It's so focused on the one character.
Yeah, I mean, granted, I didn't see it after I moved to Europe, so I think, I haven't seen it in 3 or 4 years. I haven't
seen it in at least 8.
Oh, well, no, I watched them all. I've been watching SVU since I was a kid. So I
don't think, well, no, more than that. I don't think I've been able to watch SVU since I had a kid.
Okay. So that is a long time. That's a long time. Now, I did buy on Amazon here in Germany. I did buy when Elliot Stabler came back for SVU, and then they launched Law and Order: Organized Crime.
Mm-hmm.
I did buy both those episodes, and I looked at them. But anyway, the point being, the original Law and Order has taken off at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wonder if that's a reason, since you tell me that movie making is primarily about money.
It is.
Which is a scandal to my artistic sensibilities. But don't sing the song. I know you want to sing the song to me, but don't sing the song. No, yeah, exactly. You can just dance to me. So yeah, that Hollywood or whatever the studio is Paramount. Pardon me, is it Paramount Pictures?
I think so.
I think so too. You don't hear much from Paramount anymore. I think their heyday at least is done, but Paramount thinks they can capitalize on the success of Law and Order. Although I have to say, one thing I'm grateful for is this movie doesn't have a sequel.
Yeah, there was no The Firm 2.
Thank you, Jesus, because and you know how I am. I mean, what are you laughing about?
The Firm 2, firmer.
Oh God. Oh God. Don't give any Hollywood executive who may be watching us secretly through some government conspiracy channel any ideas. Firm 2. No, just drop The Firm 2. Just say firmer. Tom Cruise. Firmer. I mean, with everything getting revived these days, couldn't you see Tom Cruise and Gene Hackman come back to another one? His character died in the movie, but
yeah,
you can well, he wasn't really dead, you can write him out. We thought we killed him, but we didn't. 5 minutes later, he got a pulse back. You can do something like that. With all these reunions happening today, I could see that happening, couldn't you?
I mean, maybe. It was apparently a major commercial success.
How?
It was the highest grossing film adapted from a Grisham novel.
Which may not be saying much. I mean, I don't know how many Grisham films have been made. I only know of The Client and this one.
The Pelican, I know The Pelican Brief came out the same year as The Firm.
Okay, I didn't even know that was a Grisham book. But I don't think he's had a lot of adaptations, has he?
I don't know.
Yeah, he's not like Stephen King, who, about every book the man wrote. Well, not every book, but, a major chunk of King's corpus has been adapted for movies.
11. He's had 11.
Yeah, King's had more, at least 25. Sure. Oh, yeah. Yeah. He's had 11 films. Read them off to us.
Yeah, so in order: The Firm, The Pelican Brief, The Client, A Time to Kill.
That one, I've seen that one too. Sorry, go ahead. I don't
The Chamber.
Yeah.
The Rainmaker.
Oh, really? That's a Grisham movie. Okay.
Yeah. The Gingerbread Man.
Mm-hmm.
A Painted House.
Mm-hmm.
Runaway Jury.
Mm-hmm.
Mickey. And Christmas with the Cranks.
I don't think that's a Grisham movie.
It's based on the 2001 novel Skipping Christmas by John Grisham.
Really?
Really?
Okay, that's something I just didn't need to know. I actually respected John Grisham until about a second ago. Did you see Christmas with the Cranks?
No,
I
did not. Did you?
Well, I did. Many moons ago, and it's a bunch of slapstick humor from what I remember, unless I'm completely confusing my movies.
Yeah, it sounds right.
That's what I thought. I mean, I know there's Christmas Vacation as well. I actually like that one.
Yeah.
That's like one of the only comedies I like, actually, just because I like it when the cat gets fried. And it's so horrible. It's so horrible, and yet it's hilarious. Yeah. So yeah, he's had 11 films. adapted. A Time to Kill. That's the other big one. I don't think I like that one. Did you see it?
No, I haven't seen hardly any of those movies.
Well, where were you during the 90s?
I don't know. Not watching R-rated movies.
Was the Firm rated R?
Yeah,
But it's hardly an R-rated movie.
the highest grossing R-rated film of 1993.
That is hardly an R-rated movie.
I
Well, yeah, you're giving me the hard facts, and I'm saying, who rates this stuff? Or maybe I'm just too desensitized. I think.
yeah, I mean, I don't think it would be an R-rated movie now.
No, PG, if that.
PG-13, maybe.
PG-13, really?
Yeah.
There was, see, I think what changed some of this was the general's daughter in 1999, 97. That was like the first R-rated thriller that was really deserving, I thought, of the rating R.
Okay.
Like that one was bad. This movie being rated R is as laughable as saying it's good.
Well, and sometimes like movies will actually kind of push for an R rating to be taken more seriously.
I didn't realize R rating was a sign of seriousness.
Oh yeah, almost every best picture winner since the rating system came out has been R rated.
Really?
Yeah.
I assume Lord of the Rings was an exception.
It didn't win Best Picture.
Won Best Picture in 2003, didn't it?
Did it?
Yeah, Return of the King. I thought they won everything that year. Now Peter has to Google. This is the episode where Peter Googles everything I say to make sure I'm not totally insane.
Googles.
This is how you know we
Yeah,
recorded.
one Best Picture. So that would be an exception then.
I told you. Again, useless knowledge. One of the two of us knows that.
Wow.
Yeah, they took home almost, if not everything, almost everything that year.
Yeah, no, they won a lot.
And see, I never. Well, I don't know. I don't want to go down that train, but I didn't realize that pushing for an R rating meant a movie was taken more seriously. Well, if
PG-13 means it's for popular appeal.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought it was just, could you take your kids to it? I never thought that.
Well, so so the first PG-13 movie, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, was they created PG-13 for that film because they didn't want an R rating because it was a movie for popular appeal, and so they wanted people to take their kids to see it.
Sorry, give me the name of that once more.
Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Okay. They wanted the kids to go. Which one is that's like Indiana Jones? One. Yeah, okay. There were like 5 of them, right?
Yes, there have been 4. There's a 5th one coming out.
Oh Lord Jesus. How does anybody keep up with sequels?
Watching them.
You broke me. I mean, look, if Firmer with Tom Cruise and Gene Hackman comes out next year, who would even go see it?
I don't know.
Like, who would remember this movie?
Apparently it was very critically acclaimed.
Well, I'm sorry, but that doesn't say much about the critics. I mean, it's like, if everybody else is jumping off a bridge, would you do it too? I mean,
apparently.
Lord Jesus. I just sit there and go, like why? Well, this is maybe this is too much of an existential matter for me, and I need to think more of
less existentially about these things. But I just think, I have limited time on this earth. Okay. I have limited time.
Mm-hmm.
There are a limited amount of human productions of art that I am able to digest.
Mm-hmm.
Why would I make Firmer one of them? Other than to moan about it with you.
That's right. That's right.
And on that note, I think we'll wrap it up for today. I think we've beaten this dead horse.
Sounds good.
To anybody who hasn't seen The Firm, don't watch it. Let us have taken that burden off of your consciences. This is the service that we can do for you, dear viewers, and for listeners.
That's right.
Don't watch this movie.
No.
So for next time, we will do something. This is my birthday gift to Peter.
Uh-oh.
Because Peter had a birthday at the beginning of May. What are you now? 38?
I'm 38.
38. Yeah, I thought so. 4 years older than me. So we are going to look at the new Batman movie. And because this is my birthday gift to Peter, I promise that I will be good.
No empty promises, Brach.
I said I'd be good. I didn't say I wouldn't have a little spiciness to my good.
There you go. There you go.
So until next time, I'm Brach Jennings.
I'm Peter Clark.
And this has been Intercontinental Media.
You're not good enough for Beverly. You're not good enough for anything. You've been bitten by a boy's charms. Leather ratchet swings her arms. You're playing